dialogue with us in regards to really exciting programs that are happening in the school district. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank a few people. This evening's agenda is outlined in your program on the seat. So on the back of the agenda is a list of opportunities to get involved with CEP and support our public schools. Before you leave this evening, if you have an opportunity to give your business card, we are excited to enroll you in the Coeur d'Alene Connects online mentor program. We'll have an opportunity for you to leave your business card if you are excited about that program after Dr. Nelson presents on that. And every business card we receive will be entered into a raffle for this beautiful Northwest Specialty Hospital gift basket up here. So thank you, Northwest Specialty Hospital, for your donation. Superintendent Dr. Stephen Cook has been in Boise attending legislative meetings on behalf of the district. He was scheduled to return this afternoon in time to be here for this evening, but due to weather delays, he will not be able to be here. On his behalf, we have several district administrators to present about the upcoming levy. We also have teachers and staff and students who are going to be sharing about our exciting mental health programs in the district. And Director of Curriculum and Assessments, Dr. Mike Nelson, is here to share details about the online career mentoring program, Coeur d'Alene Connects. The three portions to our evening, Levy Information, District Mental Health Programs, and Coeur d'Alene Connects, will include a brief questions and answer period between each segment. We'd like to begin by thanking School District 271 for partnering with us in tonight's event. We'd like to thank Northwest Specialty Hospital for generously sponsoring this event. We'd also like to thank Innovation Collective for providing this incredible venue. I'd like to welcome to our audience tonight our current school board members present this evening, our trustees Lisa May, Tambra Pickford, and Jennifer Brumley. Following this evening's program, we invite you to visit with CEP board members and district administrators. The Coeur d'Alene Education Partnership is an independent, nonprofit partnership motivated by the belief that every student in our district deserves an education of the highest quality. Tonight's event is an opportunity to promote CEP's mission to unite and inform our community regarding current education issues and promote excellence in public education.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Hanks. I'm the Secretary of Coeur d'Alene Education Partnership. Thank you for all making it out in the snowstorm this evening. We are honored to present awards to students this evening. We are presenting the Speak Award to an elementary, middle school, and high school student. We are thrilled to recognize these students for performing extraordinary acts of kindness. Our first speakers this evening will be district administrators, including Director of Secondary Education, Dr. Trina Cawley, Director of Communications, Scott Mabin, Director of Human Resources, Kelly Ostrom, and Director of Finance, Katie Ebner. March 12th, our community will be voting on a levy. Our district administrators have information as to what the current levy dollars support and how this levy will continue to contribute and expand programs and opportunity for staff and students. If you are prompted by questions during this presentation, please text your questions to 208-512-5249, which I believe is on some of the slides as well. We encourage you to submit your questions throughout the program rather than waiting until the end in order to help us maintain the flow of the evening. Our question and answer periods are just 5 minutes, so we will try to get as many in as possible. We welcome our first presenters, the district administrators.
Good evening. There we go. I'm Scott Mabin. I'm the Director of Communications for the school district, and I'm amazed at the turnout tonight given the weather that we're having. Finally, some snow we've been waiting for, right? It's magical out there. And I know now, to answer the next question I'm sure you'll have, I don't know. I don't know if tomorrow will be a snow day, but this is usually about the time of the evening that I start getting messages from students out there who I know are studying for a test or working on a project. Are we going to have a snow day? I will text and email you very early in the morning if we do, because that's what I do. I wake you up early to tell you you can sleep in. So first, I just wanted to say a big thanks to Coeur d'Alene Education Partnership for organizing and hosting this program this evening. We are really fortunate here in Coeur d'Alene to have some great community partners working with the school district. And I just want to point out all the hard work that CEP does year-round to benefit our district. They help our school libraries. They honor outstanding teachers in our elementary schools. They help with this career mentoring program that you will hear more about this evening. And it's also tonight especially exciting to have a number of students here participating in the State of the District for the first time to help us show you what great things are happening right now in our district. So I just wanted to take a minute and talk about our superintendent, Dr. Steve Cook. He really wanted to be here this evening with you. Instead, he is getting very well acquainted with Boise International Airport this evening. His flight home was delayed after he spent the past 2 days attending to some legislative business. But I just wanted to share with you that he let us know today that he's been able to speak with many legislators about the newly proposed funding formula for public schools in Idaho, a very important and timely topic. Healthcare costs, seat belts on buses, school levies, state funding for facilities across the state, and then he added this, and I quote, "It has been such a valuable opportunity for me to get face time with these policymakers and to advocate on behalf of our students, teachers, and community." So he does send his apologies for not being able to be here this evening. I promise you we will get him here next year in person. All right, so Trina and Kelly and Katie and I tonight are going to talk about the school levy that we will be voting on here in our community very soon. And first we would like to begin, we're going to begin showing you this video that we just released today featuring some of our students and employees. Okay, a little hard to hear, but I think you get the idea. Just to give a kind of a glimpse of what our levy is about. And I just wanted to mention 5 quick things about the levy that I hope everyone can take with them tonight. The levy election is March 12th. That's 3 weeks from today. This is a 2-year levy, so it would replace the existing 2-year levy that expires at the end of June. We have a lot of details about the levy in a handout that is on the table as you walked in, so maybe on your way out you could take one of those with you. It looks like this. We also have on that table some absentee ballot request forms. So if you would like the convenience of being able to vote early, then we encourage you to take one of those and fill it out, and you can return it to the elections office. They need that by March 1st. And then finally, we have a lot more information about the levy and what it supports on our website. That's cdaschools.org/levy bond. All right, so now we're going to turn it over to Dr. Caudle, the next part of our program.
So tonight it's kind of like tag team wrestling. So none of us wanted to take on the whole presentation, so we get to practice sharing the mic. So my section is if you grab one of these flyers, I don't know if it's going to show up on there, but basically right now our current levy is $16 million, and that current levy is approximately 22% of our operating budget. As Scott Maben talked about before, the state really doesn't fully fund all of our programs. And we could not have a levy, but there's a lot of things that we would have to take off the table. Some of those things that we currently fund with the levy are our resource officers. We also pay for our nursing programs. A lot of our classrooms, as you know, have really large class sizes, so we pay for instructional assistants. Academic support programs for some of our advanced opportunities courses, athletics, enrichment, transportation, technology is another thing that's not fully funded from the state. So these are the things that we get from our local levy dollars. As Scott said, this levy is a levy that is only good for 2 years. So this upcoming election in March, we are asking to renew the levy, but we're also asking for an increase. Can you go to the next slide? I'm going to walk and talk because it's going to drive me nuts. So, and then I can see it as well. So our board is asking for an additional $4 million per year. We have found that we have some funding priorities that we still cannot pay for with our current $16 million levy. Some of those include mental health resources for students, and I would say some of those resources are also for staff. Later on in our presentation this evening, you will hear about some of those services that we plan to provide and are providing for our students in the area of mental health. Security personnel. Right now we currently have, I think it's 7 resource officers. Oh, excuse me, it's 8. We have 1 at every secondary school, and then we have 2 that cover the elementary schools. We are finding that this is really not enough. We are looking at the possibility of increasing resource officers, especially for elementary. And then we may add some additional security personnel. Our secondary schools have a lot of doorways and hallways, and it's very difficult to try to provide security when we only have a handful of administrators and resource officers. We're also looking at increasing school budgets and classroom supplies. As Dr. Cook has been going through the district and doing levy presentations, he's been asking teachers to raise their hand if they haven't spent any money so far in their classroom. And not a single teacher has raised their hand. The average teacher only has about $100 a year to spend on classroom supplies, and that doesn't go very far. Teacher and staff training. Currently, the only funding we get for professional development is through our title funds, and those have strings attached to them. So it's very hard to offer a program of quality when you can't provide training for all of your staff members. And then something that's very near and dear to our hearts is we are really close to the Washington border, and many of our teachers can leave and make $20,000, potentially $30,000 more a year just by driving 30 to 40 miles. So we really want to be able to retain and recruit teachers and staff. We want the best for your students, and so that's part of what these dollars will go for. So we'll kind of highlight each area. I'll do a few, and then I'm going to hand it over to Kelly Ostrom, who's our Director of Human Resources. So we're really splitting the levy in 2 pots. One pot is the $1.5 million a year, and that will fund several programs. One of those is the health services for our students, the increase in security personnel, and to increase the building budgets to help teachers and buildings with those needed supplies. So So I will pass the mic over to Kelly. It's your turn, and she'll talk about the staffing pieces.
All right. The fourth item that the increased levy will support is professional development. To have quality staff, we need to keep everyone growing in skills and knowledge of the best practices in all areas: safety, instruction, technology, special education. The district special education population has more needs than ever, and our staff want training. One question we ask of our staff is, what do you need to do your job? Repeatedly, we hear more professional development. We want to grow, we want to learn more. When we were out recruiting for new staff, we are asked, what does your district offer for professional growth opportunities? Very important for people looking for jobs. Our current budget has a very limited amount for professional development. The fifth and final item that the increased levy will support is $2.5 million would be put into salary increases. As I'm sure you've heard, Washington teacher salaries were increased by 20% and more this past fall. Beginner teachers can go to Washington and make $10,000 more at the very start level, and like Trina said, $27,000, $30,000 more as they work up the pay scale. Classified minimum salary is $9.48 in our district. Washington is $12, and that will be $13.50 in year 2020. With the increase of $2.5 million, we can increase our salaries to better help compete in our market and across the border. Now to talk about property tax, our Director of Finance, Katie Ebner.
Thanks, Kelly. Okay, what you might be wondering after hearing about all these exciting ways to help our students is, what is it going to cost me? So I'm going to talk a little bit about the impact for this projected $20 million levy and how it's going to affect your property tax bill for the school district portion of your property taxes. So our district tax rate for the current tax year is $2.23 per $1,000 of taxable assessed value. We are projecting that it would decrease down to $2.13 per $1,000 of taxable assessed value with this $20 million levy. So that's including the increase in the levy. You might be wondering how we can drop the rate while we're increasing the levy, and this is due to the market growing. So you drive around our district and you see that there's a lot of new construction going on. So as that pie of the market value is getting bigger, that pie grows, and we're able to spread the levy increase over amongst more taxpayers. So this is really a great opportunity to meet these needs in our district without having a large impact on the existing taxpayers. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some numbers as far as projected numbers. And now I just want to emphasize that this is a projection because the tax rate is made up of a formula, and there's one variable we don't have until next fall, and that's the market value. So we can do our best. If I had a crystal ball, I would tell you exactly what the tax rate is going to be. It would make my job really easy, but I don't have that. So we go off of projections, historical projections, give us a good idea. And we're going with a very conservative projection here. So hopefully these scenarios will match reality, if not, be a better tax situation for the taxpayer. So we'll just take a $250,000 kind of average assessed value. And if you subtract the homeowner's exemption, that's $150,000 taxable value. And if you apply the current rate, that would be for the school district portion of taxes. We're not talking about the city added in or highway district. This is just the school district portion. The current tax year charge for a house of that value would have been about $350. If you look at what the same assessed value would cost with our projected tax rate with a $20 million levy, that would be $319. And so you notice it's less money. It's about $30 of savings. Now you might be saying to yourself, well, you just said the same assessed value, and my assessment's gone up over the years. So we tried to take that into consideration with a projection of a 10% assessed value increase. So we ran the same $250,000 taxable or assessed value, and we increased it by 10%, applied the same projected rates, and the annual impact for school district taxes would be less than $5 more for the taxpayer. So hopefully what we're looking at here is a very minimal impact to meet these important needs for our district. And I believe we are going to be taking questions now.
Yes, thank you. We did receive a few questions by text, so we will read those out for you. And so hopefully any of you who just presented in terms of administrators could jump in and answer some of these questions as they come up. And the first question is, what would everyday school look like if the levy does not pass?
That's a very scary question. We've kind of looked at this with a board meeting presentation, and 22% of our operations is funded by the levy, and so you could look around a school and we would not be able to do 22% of what we're doing. And the issue right now is we're still recovering from cuts that happened in 08-09, and we cutting at this point seems like it would be just a devastating impact, because it doesn't feel like we have a lot to spare at this point. So
Okay. We also had a question about construction at Lakes Middle School. Is that tied to this levy at all? It was in the last one.
no, so this is the levy, the maintenance and operations levy. This funds the day-to-day operations of the school district. The bond is what passed back in 2017, and that was for construction, along with the levy that was passed. We had two measures on that ballot, and the lakes is in progress still. It's being bid, and the contract is being worked out, so that is still in progress.
Thank you. Another question, how many additional mental health professionals will the district be able to hire, and what would their jobs be?
That's a good question. If you notice, we were kind of vague on what that would look like, and that's intentional. Each building has different needs. We have different demographics and different students, and so what we're thinking of is, instead of just prescribing something, actually, if the levy passes, then we'll get together and we'll talk with schools, we'll talk with parents and staff and administrators at those schools and try to fill the need based on what that school needs. So for some schools it may be additional counselors. For some it may be some counselors that actually provide therapy versus academic planning. It may be hiring social workers. It could be a variety of different things.
Thank you. One question we got that just came in is $20 million really enough?
No comment? No, I don't. Yeah, it's a lot of deliberation with our board and looking at needs. You have to balance at the same time all of our needs with where we can, what we can ask of our taxpayers. So our board had that tough decision to make, and I don't envy them.
Thank you. One more question. Can you explain the need for more school security personnel? Have you seen increased security or student behavior issues, or is it a concern about protecting against potential security threats?
That's a good question. I would say it's more about potential threats. Right now our high schools have quite a few students. If you look at Lake City, there are about 1,700 students and about 13 to 14 at Coeur d'Alene High School. And we have 4 administrators and 1 resource officer, and we have a lot of doors. And so anytime there's not an area that's supervised, you have the opportunity for things to happen, whether it's bullying or whether it's theft. We kind of use the rule just like you would a stoplight. The closer you are to students, it's more of a red light. They're less likely they're going to misbehave or something may happen to them. The further away, you get yellow, and then there's the green light. People that aren't being supervised, sometimes things happen and you can't be preventative. So most of it is really for the secondary schools, just because of our increased population and how with fire code those doors have crash bars on them, so it's very easy to let folks in when they shouldn't be coming in.
Thank you. One last question I'm going to challenge you with. Is there any way to lock in the levy for greater than 2 years in the future?
There is a way. There is a law that says if a levy is a certain percentage of your budget for 7 years, you can make the levy permanent. However, that was a decision that it was another tough decision that our board had to make for this year, and they opted to go with the 2-year renewable, just based on community feedback and what would what they felt the voters could support the most.
Okay. Thank you, all of you. We received a lot of wonderful questions. We don't have time to go through all of them, but we do encourage you to stay after and ask questions of the administrators if you didn't get a chance to have your question asked. We are now thrilled to present our Elementary Speak Award. Mr. Casey, we invite you to make the presentation.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Steve Casey. I'm the old principal at Coeur d'Alene High School. This isn't going to work. Hello, everybody. My name's Steve Casey. Same thing. Hey, thank you for turning out. It's such an honor for me to deal with young men and women, so I get the fun stuff. But as I look out here, how many of you are students in the Coeur d'Alene School District right now? Just stand up. Just stand up. No one's going to throw anything at you. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, now, this is not a trick question. In your program, they said I only had 5 minutes, but that's not true. I have 15. So this is going to go on well, you have to tell me when to stop. Why are you here?
My brother speaking.
Your brother speaking? What are you going to speak about?
The organization of QPR.
So you got your homies here with you, right? So you're going to go? And so you're all here, back up, front row? You're crazy. Why'd you take the front row? I know it's over here some kids too. See, I met you earlier. You're from Lakes, right?
I'm here to talk about the program Sources of Strength.
Getting our kids involved in these kind of programs is one of the ways we can say to ourselves we have safe schools. Is these kids are involved. They need to know what's going on. So it's my pleasure tonight to introduce an elementary student who knows what SPEAK stands for anyway? What does it stand for?
I've never seen. Alright. A speak is someone speaking for something that is happening right now, and we are trying to stop from happening. Max.
Max, thank you so much. That's really well done. How many of you want to get up in front of an audience and talk? Not very many. Speak. Students performing extraordinary acts of kindness. Now we could have hundreds of kids up here, but our first one tonight is our elementary presentation. Before I get there, how many people in here have had an elementary teacher made a difference in their lives? Just raise your hand. Holy cow. So I'm going to tell you a brief story. When I was in the 6th grade, I couldn't go out for recesses because my 6th grade teacher said, you will stay in and work on your penmanship until you get it right. And that teacher ruined my career. And the reason I can say that was my penmanship was so good I could never be a doctor. So the point I'm getting at is the elementary laying the foundation is so important. So with that in mind, nominated by Principal Crystal Kubista, correct? Crystal, all right? Is that close enough? Thank you. Of Ramsey Magnet School of Science, she has this nominee. Isabella Rice. Could you come up here, Isabella, please? Are you here? Hey! Okay, Do you know why you're here?
I go to the school she works for.
Well, that's pretty close, but can I read you what she wrote about you? Is that okay? All right, here it is. This is Isabella Rice. We would like to nominate Isabella Rice for this award. She is a 4th grade student who is always willing to go above and beyond to help another student who may be having a bad day. I need you in my school. That never happened in high school, I tell you. Need a friend to... Don't get them out of order. Wait a minute, here we go. Need a friend to talk to, or even need something more than that. For example, one day she noticed that a classmate didn't have clothes. Remember this story? Yeah. That fit him well. So she came down to the counselor to tell the counselor her concerns. Then the next day she came to school with a gift card for that student. Bella gave the gift card to the counselor so the student would know where it came from. This is an example of why we think Bella is worthy of this award. Isabella Rice. You want to say something? No? Nothing? Okay. Amy has something for you right there. We'd like to give you a little certificate and a gift card to the Well-Read Moose. Thank you, Isabella. Thanks. Okay, my time's up.
It is up. Thank you, Mr. Casey. We will now move on to our next presentation for the evening. District Nurse Nicole Pekarsky will begin with an explanation and description of a variety of mental health programs offered in the district. She will be inviting staff and students from several schools in the district to share their experiences around these programs. Once again, we encourage you to text your questions through the course of the conversation. Ms. Pekarsky, we welcome you, your introduction to these programs.
Thank you. In the last 18 months in Coeur d'Alene Public Schools, we've taken on a number of new mental health, mental wellness initiatives. All of these programs are based on research. They have evidence to support, and we can count on these programs making a positive impact in our students' lives. So I'm going to give you a quick overview of our plans for 4 of the programs, and then we'll hear from individual instructors, teachers, and students that are utilizing these programs right now in our district. Trust-based relational intervention, also known as TBRI, is our first program that we'll talk about tonight. For me, when I think about TBRI, I connect it with ACEs. If you're familiar with adverse childhood experience scores or a history of trauma, this is the practical application. So when I think about TBRI, I think about what am I going to do with an ACEs score now that I know this about a child in my class. And TBRI is something that we could call a toolkit. It gives teachers tools and strategies, ways to interact with students based on that ACEs score. But actually, TBRI works for all students, not just students that come from hard places. So we have TBRI in the Coeur d'Alene Public Schools because we have a partnership with the Region 1 Behavioral Health Board. And part of a subcommittee for the Regional Behavioral Health Board is the North Idaho Trauma Care Collaborative. And because of this collaboration, we have 8 TBRI practitioners that are employees of the school district, our teachers, counselors, special education staff that are now able to go out and train our other staff in the district. And so our ultimate goal is to train everybody in the district on TBRI. In April, we'll have another 9 TBRI practitioners trained, and so we'll be able to expand that to 17 folks in the district, and really quickly over the next few years be able to get more people trained in TBRI. So TBRI uses security, or establishes and helps build security in the classroom so that students are able to learn and pay attention. Ultimately, the goal is to grow healthy adults who are able to have healthy relationships, and that means that they're able to negotiate their needs, maintain autonomy in relationship, and give and receive care. These are all components of TBRI. TBRI can be used as both prevention and intervention, and tonight we'll hear from Nancy Nuttelman and students from Northwest Expedition Academy who are using a classroom strategy for a trauma-informed classroom. In January and February of this year, we also trained staff and students in sources of strength. We had 50 employees of the district and 250 students who attended trainings. Sources of Strength is a community prevention. It builds resilience and increases connections and trust with adults. Sources of Strength help students to recognize and build protective factors in 8 key areas. Sources of Strength, then, is an upstream model to promote cultural change within our schools. We'll hear more about Sources of Strength from Kristin Odenthal and students from Lakes Middle School as well as Lake City High School. In the fall, we plan to train another 50 employees and 250 more students every year thereafter. Cope to Thrive is a program that teaches there is hope for change and that both depression and anxiety are treatable. COPE recognizes that we cannot control trigger events, but we can control our responses to them. Cope to Thrive is a program for individuals, and it can be used for prevention as well as intervention. And thanks to support from Kootenai Health, we've been able to train 5 nurses and 1 counselor in the district to be Cope to Thrive instructors. In addition to that, thanks to an Excel Foundation grant, we were able to purchase materials for our students. So we've been working with classes of students at Venture High School and with individual students at some of our other schools. And Connie Drager is here from Venture High School with a student to share some of those experiences in just a few minutes. And our final program we're going to talk about tonight is QPR, which teaches a simple method to intervene and prevent suicide. QPR stands for Question, Persuade, and Refer. It's a way for community members, lay people just like you, who would be able to offer help in a moment of crisis. So again, thanks to a partnership with Kootenai Health, we have the support to, we're able to train 8 nurses to be QPR instructors this year, and an additional 12 other staff in the district, including members of our district administration who are QPR instructors. QPR is evidence-based, just like all the programs I've mentioned tonight. Research shows that for every 13 people trained in QPR, 1 referral is made that saves a life. We've trained over 1,000 individuals this year alone in the district. Tonight we'll hear from Kirsten Pomerantz and a Lake City High School student about QPR. So next we'll listen to Nancy Nuttelman. Thank you.
We practice this at school, so it has to be this angle. Thank you. I'm Nancy Nuttelman, a first grade teacher at Dalton Elementary, and I would like to introduce to you my 2 students. I call them kid coaches, Ella and Jagger, and they're going to help us tonight understand trauma-informed practices. Understanding, communication, building relationships, connecting, belonging to a community, empowering, a chance for redos. Mistakes are just wonderful opportunities to learn and grow. These tenets are the core practices of trauma-informed classrooms and schools. The school district provides professional development to elementary staffs on trauma-informed practices as the students face many stressors today. Trauma-informed practices are the ideal interventions for students with chronic stress or hard places, such as abuse or neglect, or a medical diagnosis of cancer or depression, or a natural disaster, such as a fire. But it also provides wonderful supports for students who experience short-term trauma in their life, such as the loss of a pet, a grandparent, a change in the family home, a family unit that is changed from divorce, illness, or death, life transitions and changes, going from kindergarten to first grade, major life change, or struggles in academics and social skills. It's critical for everyday life in a classroom and school buildings to look through the trauma-informed lenses. So, how do teachers accomplish this? How do staffs? The first step is to connect and build a trusting relationship with each student, and in turn, create a classroom community where everyone belongs and they feel safe. This is at the heart and core of the program. Did you know you have a downstairs and an upstairs brain? Yes, you do. My kid coaches are going to help demonstrate. So, this is our brain. This is our downstairs brain. Our downstairs brain is the emotional one. It's the alarm center. It's the one that goes off. And then we have the upstairs brain. That's our thinking brain. It's the wise brain. But when the upstairs brain becomes overly stimulated, oops, we flip our lid. That's an example of a strategy where students learn and understand a common language to describe and actions. It identifies an awareness and strategies which we call the zones of regulation. This is our zone of regulation plate. The front side, as you can see, has rest area. That's where the child is tired, lethargic. Go, the just right learning zone. Slow, uh-oh, starting to get a little escalated. And stop, we flipped our lid. The next slide is on the back. It gives the zones, and then it gives faces to identify different feelings. And then on the bottom, some tools to get back into the green zone. Last week when we had our snowstorm, we pulled out our zone dials because that powder on the playground was just too attractive to compete with the classroom learning. So, we pulled out our zone. We were in the yellow slow zone. We were starting to flip our lid. So we needed to take a break as a classroom with food and water to recharge ourselves. And then we did our deep breathing exercise, which is called the 5-finger breathing. So you start at your wrist and you go up and breathe in and then come back down and breathe out. And they're going to demonstrate as you breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Try it sometime. It's a great little strategy when you are feeling stressed and need to deep breathe. Embedding these strategies into academic lessons also assists students in their transfer and generalization of their coping skills. We analyzed a main character in our story, Leave Me Alone. The grandma's in the green zone at the very beginning of the story, but as Ella wrote in her character analysis, something happens.
I am excited about the book Leave Me Alone. My favorite part is the pages that say Leave Me Alone. The book is to me very funny. The character flips her lid sometimes in the story, and sometimes she gets calm too. Thank you.
Jagger was inspired by our talks about language and the upstairs and downstairs brain. So he went home on his own and developed an anchor chart. This has been hanging in our classroom all year with the front side and then the back side. And so Jagger is going to explain to you his anchor chart.
So you know this is your brain, right? There are 3 zones. The first one is the upstairs brain, or the green zone. The green zone is the calm. The next zone is the yellow zone. The yellow zone is when you are about to flip your lid. The last zone is the red zone. The The red zone is when you flip your lid. Here's a picture of each zone in your brain.
So here the kids are. This was a classroom activity with our zones. We cut out those little faces and we put them on the different kinds of zones. So it's very interactive and they have a deep understanding of that language. So these are a few trauma-informed practices that we are doing in the Coeur d'Alene School District. My awesome kid coaches transferred the language and the zones of regulation using their agency or their choice. They are building relationships, connections, and skills in our classroom and in our community. And in turn, they are empowered. Thank you. Kristin Odenthal from Lakes will now present the program, Sources of Strength.
Hi, I'm Kristin Odenthal. I teach at Lakes, and we've been doing Sources of Strength at Lakes for about 4 years now, and it did, just get going throughout the district this year. And a couple of the ladies that I have here have been doing the program for 2 years and for 4 years, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. You heard a little bit about how it's an upstream model, and I love what they're doing at the elementary school. So when we're flipping our lid, hopefully we don't do that, but when we do get to that spot, we have 8 sources that we teach students about, and I'll show you them here. Well, you can actually see them on the back of my shirt as well. But we've got their mental health, family support, positive friends, mentors, healthy activities, generosity, spirituality, and medical access. So we believe there's the belief that if you have at least 4 of these, if adults and students have at least 4 that they know they can go to when they're feeling stressed out, when they're feeling anxiety, when they're feeling anger, that they have one of these to go to, and if that one doesn't work, they have another one that they can go to. So this is what we really focus on, and we do a lot of different activities throughout the year focusing on each of the strengths. And we're going to start out before I have these lovely ladies tell you about their experiences. The Coeur d'Alene High School has done a video that explains what the Peer Leader mission statement is, which is in the back of this little pamphlet. So you're going to hear that, and that talks about what the peer leaders are. They've been trained, what Nicole was saying, they've been trained, and they're kind of trained to be connectors, where they're connecting with the school and are people that they're able to talk to, and if they need to be brought to a counselor, they're doing that and also talking about the strengths with other students. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll see the video real quick.
We are sources of strength.
We are a group of diverse students and adults
from many different corners and cultures of our school and community.
We believe that life has ups and downs
that all of us will go through.
Our mission is to spread hope
and strength into every corner of our community.
Our mission is to help students
and staff to turn to their strengths
and their supports that are all around.
We are
connectors to help and strength.
Our mission recognizes
that our voice
has great power, and we use it to
break the silence
when someone is struggling
and to connect them
to the help they need
and deserve.
We
spread hope
by focusing on stories of strength
rather than on stories of trauma. We know our most powerful impact
comes from our personal actions,
conversations,
and messages that use our music,
our art, our writing,
our activities,
our social media, our culture,
and our voice.
This gives life to our efforts.
We are sources of strength!
Okay, so in each of the different schools are putting together videos, so you can always check those websites when they get finished. So I'm going to introduce Olivia Jolly. She is from Lakes Middle School. She's an 8th grader who has been in the program since she was 6th grade.
Hi guys. There's just wanted to share a little bit about my experience. This year will be my 3rd year in Sources of Strength, and I can confidently say that it has changed my life in a very significant way. I came into 6th grade as like, I'm so excited for middle school, and then I came in and I was like, this kind of sucks, and I didn't really know how to handle it because as a normal middle schooler, I'm overly emotional and I didn't really know what to do with myself. And there was some moments where I was really, really sad and depressed sometimes, and I didn't quite know what to do. And I remember meeting Miss Odenthal, and I was invited to join Sources of Strength, and I was like, oh cool, it's just another excuse to skip class and whatever. And I wasn't quite into it for a while, and I tried to participate, but I guess it's kind of a silent killer because it started to get to me, and even if I didn't know it, it started to like teach me how to create community with people and how to talk to people and all those sorts of things. And it taught me how to deal with my emotions and taught me that I do have strengths and that you can actually focus on the positive things rather than, you know, focus on the negative ones. And I don't think I would be who I am today without it. I used to think that, you know, negativity was always the answer. And now the only thing I can say is that you should love people. And I'm really, really grateful for that.
Thank you, Olivia. All right, and now we have Annabelle Darris, and she is from Lake City High School.
Hi guys, my name is Annabelle Darris. I've been part of Sources of Strength for 4 years now, and I can say the first year I was in it, I was going through a lot. But Miss Odenthal was a big part of making me the person I am. I take Sources of Strength with me everywhere I go. It is a main part of my life, and I'm very passionate about it. I brought it back this year by talking to my counselor almost every month about it, and I can say I'm very happy I was part of it for as long as I was, and I'm happy I get to continue. I was part of the first group of Sources of Strength and the first magnet class at Lake's Middle School, and me and a couple friends designed the first shirts for Sources of Strength. And I can say I am very grateful for Miss Odenthal and this group, and I'm happy I get to continue and teach everyone around me that we can all be connectors and we all have a voice and we all can be there for one another, no matter if you're an adult, a teacher, or just someone a part of the community. We're all connectors in our own way, and we can all make a difference in our schools and in our community.
All right, thank you so much. There are some little pamphlets out on the table there too if you need a little more information about it. So I'd like to introduce now Miss Connie Drager from Venture High School.
Hi, my name is Connie Drager, and I'm the nurse at Venture High School, and this is Kristin Miranda, and he is a senior at Venture High School. We initiated, Nicole told you a little bit about the COPE to Thrive program. I'm just going to say a couple more things about it. We initiated the COPE to Thrive program at Venture the winter term of last year, the 2017-18 school year, with the help of an Excel grant. COPE to Thrive is a cognitive behavioral therapy-based program designed to help teens who may be dealing with anxiety, stress, and depression by showing them how to develop skills needed to stop negative starts, start positive thinking, and cope in a positive way. At Venture, we have 2 teachers, myself and a counselor, who are all certified to teach the COPE to Thrive program. We offer it 6th period for an elective credit, and we've done it every term since last year, and we'll continue to do it from here on out. So far, we have had approximately 100 students who have completed the course. This is Kristin Miranda, and he's just going to talk a little bit about the course and how it's helped him.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kristin. Last year, I moved to Venture High School thinking, well, year, last year. Oh, finally, I'm out of high school. Finally, it'd be great. And I heard from Connie, talked over on the overhead about the Cope class, and I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I don't usually like staying after school for an hour, but I'll give it a shot. So, first day comes around, I come. I'm interested. It was a surprise to me myself. I didn't think that for anxiety, someone who always is anxious, even now, I'm anxious right now. For someone who's always anxious, how is anxiety and stress and depression like activity gonna help me at all? But as I took the classes for the 6 weeks, it helped. I read the book, I set goals for myself, I made positive statements and increased on my strengths, and I was happier for once. I moved here 2 years ago from California, leaving, well, a bunch of friends, coming here to practically no friends, and I was scared. A new school, everything, and then I came to CHS, and then I had to move to Venture because I moved out of district. Anyways, I enjoyed the Cope program. I read the book. I still have the book at home, and I write in it every day. I write what happened during the day. It's kind of like almost my diary. I practice the goals every day. I restate my positive statements. You know, I'm a good writer. I love to read, and I'm a good friend. And I increase upon these strengths, and even now, I think I'm doing a little bit better now.
Thanks, Kristin. Good job. I'd like to introduce Kristin Pomerantz from Lake City High School, and she's going to talk about QPR and suicide prevention.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Kristin Pomerantz. I'm here with Dylan Ward, a 9th grader at Lake City High School. A question for everyone. How many of you have, at some time in your life, done CPR certification? Fantastic. QPR, as a parent, I took part in the summer training and learned a little bit about QPR. Question, persuade, refer. And the most important takeaway for me always is how can I put something in words that I can remember and understand? And for me, that is that QPR is our CPR for mental health. So in the fall, we had trainings that happened for all of the high school teachers. So we were introduced to QPR, and then a handful of us were then trained in QPR training to bring it to the students. And so I'd like to let Dylan have a chance to talk about what QPR means for the high school students.
Hey, my name's Dylan. I'm going to be here representing Lake City High School. So, I'm an average student. I have an okay GPA. I'm just what people call kind of a stereotypical student, not the smartest, not the dumbest. But where does that put me? It puts me in front of all you to give you our point of view. QPR helps with people because from going through all the years, you see the differences in people, no matter where you go. And on a sadder note, these past year and a half, all these horrible things that's happened with the suicides, with CHS, everybody else, it's not a good note, but it's something that you have to, mention because of the organization we're naming. And with this said, though, this is an opportunity for our high schools to make a change. Because you're not going to see this type of thing in little kids, But as you get older, things get more difficult, and as things get more difficult, it's something that you have to realize people change. And with these changes can come good or bad. With the good, there's good things that happen through either just people in your life or things that happen in your life. People can change your life for the better or worse. And you want to avoid the people that make it worse, because that's when things start going downhill. And QPR just helps you kind of realize what's better for your life, because you just think about everything and you can figure out what people need to go for help. Your friends can use the strategies that they provide to figure out how they can help you with their life. And they can help you find outlets, such as if you're suffering from depression, you can find sports or other activities throughout your life that just help. And I think this is very important, because with our students, it's kind of a bad thing, because with our generation now, it's just going downhill and nobody's really talking as much as they used to anymore. From what my parents used to tell me, it used to be everyone's talking. There's not screens everywhere. And not as many people have been participating in sports. We're starting to see an incline now, but that's because of these programs that suggest it for their depression and everything, just to get distracts. Because I've had multiple coaches and friends that say when they go to practice, that's their way to avoid the thinking of everything. And it's true, because when you find something else through life, you just kind of sit there and you think, I'm lucky to at least be doing this in my life, not, you know, sitting there in your room, lights off, on your bed, looking up at the ceiling. What am I doing with my life? Because there's not as many negative thoughts. Instead, you're focusing on something else, and you're taking away that thought in your brain that could be causing harm, or just something that's not good. Because with all this, it could cause something totally devastating throughout so many people. I went to Lakes last year. Again, not a good note, but the CHS tragedy that happened with the principal. It was not good. Multiple teachers were affected. And that's something that we just don't want for an obvious reason. And QPR can help with that. And no matter how you look at it, there's always going to be the bad sides of everything. But you just have to focus on the good sides. Like the Sources of Strength people that just came up and spoke for us. They did a very good job of realizing that there's positive in life. The negativity you have to avoid. And there's always going to be negativity. You're going to have to deal with it. Get thick skin. But with the negativity, there's always going to be positivity. There's not always going to be the down low. Even if you think they hit rock bottom, just think, no, you just know where you can go but up. So with this, I'd like to leave the rest to wonderful teacher, Ms. Pomerantz, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Dave. No, that's good. Very good. You can sit down. So just really quickly, one of the neat things in listening to all of the programs that we have is how different each of them are, what they address for different ages of students, as well as the scope of some of what they do. And so QPR complements the various programs that we have in the same way that our CPR training complements the other ways that we have medical interventions to support our health. So thank you all very much, and I think we're moving to Q&A.
Thank you. Yes, we just have some questions for Ms. Piekarski. But thank you, students and staff, so much for sharing all of that. Okay, so our first question is, how do the trauma-informed practices impact and benefit students without a history of trauma?
So trauma-informed practices really are healthy interactions with each other. And so trauma-informed practices will help children who are not from hard places, because it will help to foster and develop those skills for problem solving, for being members of communities and helping each other out to be good citizens.
Thank you. Another question, are there protocols when a student or a parent contacts a school with concern about a student's self-harm?
Yes, we We don't have that probably specifically laid out, but right now is our suicide prevention policy that's out for public comment. And so if you're interested in reviewing that, it does include an example exhibit of a school-based manual. And so you would be able to review that. That would show to you the steps that we take in the schools to help students, whether you're a teacher or you're a bus driver or you're in the kitchen, a counselor or admin, what you can do as an individual and what your resources in those buildings are.
Thank you. Another question that just came in, if you could explain why there are so many different programs and not just one consistent program across the district?
Very good question. So we know from SAMHSA and research, let's call them databases when I say SAMHSA, so bodies of research, that we want to approach suicide prevention and mental health from multiple aspects. And so we don't want to approach with one method. And so, for example, individual interventions like Cope to Thrive and QPR are what one person can do. And then community interventions are societal approaches, and so that's like sources of strength. And we want to address on an individual level what I can do to make a positive difference in my life through Cope to Thrive, but QPR is what I as an individual might be able to do to make a positive difference in another person's life or your life. And then TBRI kind of, I like that it bridges both of those really, because it's about fostering our students to communicate and be in community with each other. And so that's a societal model, but it is about individuals. So when we're approaching this, we want to hit all of those areas because suicide and mental health is complex, and it is not an easy fix that we would be able to make a big difference with only one intervention.
Great, thank you so much, and thank you to our students again for coming. We are now thrilled to present our Middle School Speak Award. Mr. Casey, please make the presentation.
Thank you, and thank you very much to the presenters. You guys did a great job. It's not easy getting up here talking in front of a group of people, but I hope you realize what you're seeing tonight is pretty special. You don't get a lot of teenagers to open up and talk the way they do in front of adults. So let's have a little fun here. I still got 15 minutes. So here's what we're going to do. How many of you have raised a teenager or are raising one right now? Oh, I feel sorry for you guys. Somebody close by, right here. Did you raise your hand? You can. Do you have a teenager? Had? Okay, so they're beyond it. You're going to know the answer to this question. I want you to define a teenager. Moody. Ooh. Yeah? My wife says I'm moody, so that could be an all-encompassing thing. Well, here's my definition. A teenager. They're too old to do what the younger kids do. And they're too young to do what the older kids do. So they do whatever the heck they want to do. And I've never found anybody to disclaim that definition. So we're in the middle school category, and that is a tumultuous time for our kids when they're growing up and things are changed and they don't know why and we don't know why. But we're going to honor a young man here in just a minute that's done a great job. And from his school, Canfield Middle School, Principal Nick Loliquist and his staff has nominated a young man. Jack, would you come on up? Jack Adams. Congratulations, Jack. Your hands are sweaty. You nervous?
No.
You know, the last time I was up here, I knelt on the floor because the girl was little. Now I'm going to have to get a chair because you're so big. My goodness, you're eighth grade?
Yep.
Do you know why you're up here? You do? Okay, you go ahead.
Well, I mean,
I'll read it. I'll read it. I'm just messing with you. Okay, Jack is a super positive young man, whether it is getting out of his mom's car In the car line or in the hallways, he always greets others with a positive hello. Jack works extremely hard within the classroom, earns superior grades, and is a mentor. Jack lost his father this year. His perseverance is amazing as he continues to come to school with a positive can-do attitude and willingness to help others through our, should have put this on one page, through our mentoring program. I was proud to watch Jack and several of his mentoring peers speak this week at the Superintendent's Parent Advisory Group. He spoke about the value of being a good person and helping others. This is truly amazing for an 8th grade boy who has endured such a big loss in his life this year. If Jack could help out any student in this school, he would. He has been like this since he walked in our doors as a 6th grader. Jack, congratulations. Do you have something you want to say?
Sure. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank my arms for always being at my side, and my legs for always supporting me, and my fingers because I can always count on them.
That was good. Congratulations, Jack. We got a little award for you. Keep that smile going, big boy. Thank you. Jack Adams.
Okay. We will now move on to our final presentation for the evening. Dr. Nelson will provide insight into the online career mentoring program that students 6 through 12 can access. Again, we would encourage you one last time to text your questions to 208-512-5249. Thank you. Mr. Nelson?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Jack, that was amazing. I need to use that in the future. I would like to take a few moments to kind of wrap this up, and the biggest thing that I can talk about is how much of a community we have here tonight. From talking about the levy, which is community funded, to the programs that it offers, to this piece of it, we care a lot about Coeur d'Alene. And this piece is pretty remarkable. When I get a few moments with a microphone, you always have to be a little bit leery. So I'd like to also recognize somebody who doesn't have the microphone tonight. This is Preston Faw, right back here. Say hi, Preston. No, big hi. There's Preston. Preston is a senior at Lake City High School, and he is here, well, was here with his senior project mentor tonight. And he is another reason that we've had it. We've got all of these programs that serve the unique needs, and Coeur d'Alene Connects tries to bring everyone together to be able to support, especially our seniors. These are people who will be graduating in the next couple of months or years, and we need to make sure that when we give a student a diploma, that we are confident that they have met the graduation requirements and expectations of our community, but that they are also prepared for whatever they choose to do. We need you to do this. It takes a village, and that's very, very true. We do our very best to educate students during the day, but there's a lot of education that's outside of our walls. Coeur d'Alene Connects invites you, the educated young adults, or even older adults, to bring your experiences to our students. Right now, about 6,000 kids have Coeur d'Alene Connects profiles. Right? Coeur d'Alene Connects, career cruising, okay? So, what does this mean? As students are going through the system, starting in grade 8, they're now filling out a profile. They have different boxes that they're checking along the way. Do we have a plan about what kind of education they'd like to pursue? Do they have an idea of what careers they'd like to pursue? Have they filled out scholarships and financial aid applications to be able to get there? And all along, we're watching our students grow until they get to that 100% mark, and we feel confident that they can do that. But along the way, we have this area here called My Coeur d'Alene Connects. And it's not just about exploring a career, it's about talking to somebody in that career. It's about making a connection that ultimately leads to a senior project mentorship. 30 hours of connection with somebody. Here's basically what it looks like, and here's what we're asking you for. Right now, we have about 200 mentors in the community who are working with our students. Here's an example. We have somebody in our community, come on, who is the CEO of a crisis and abuse counseling clinic. Our student here does not know, this is Brianna, that's really not that student's name, is talking with Michael, that's really not his name. But they are having a realistic conversation about what it's like to be an abuse or crisis counselor in our region. Look at the quality of question. Have you ever gotten scared about somebody who comes with a problem and you don't know how to handle, and how does this impact your job? That's a very profound question. And the CEO took time to be able to respond to that question. This is a threaded and moderated discussion. We have the ability to make sure that every piece of conversation is appropriate. There's no personal information being shared, but the response and the communication with the student is really engaging to them. Here's another example from our system, a computer software engineer, having a conversation with one of our students right now. This is happening in our district. It's a cool opportunity. Here's another one. We've gotten lots of people in the health professions who are interested right now. Here's a conversation, one of our students talking with a nurse in our community who's a postpartum delivery, labor and delivery nurse. These are the conversations that we're having. But as you can probably imagine, we're having a hard time filling all of these needs that we have for our students. Here are the top saved careers at our high schools right now. Notice anything? Lots of healthcare up there. We'd like to again thank Northwest Specialty Hospital. We'd also like to encourage you to put in your business card because we need more of just about everything up here. Now, of course, we probably will not graduate nearly 100 students who will be surgeons. But the fact that they're interested in that gives us an opportunity to extend a hand and let them know what being a surgeon is really like. Here are some of the unfilled positions that we have, and I'll come back to it. Can you fill any of these holes? Do you know anybody who can fill any of these holes? We need your name. We need a little bit of time for you to fill out a company profile. That company profile allows you to reach out to our students and look at all of the benefits that you get. You can complete your profile. You can post work-based learning experiences. You can say, hey, we're having an open house. And again, only students that are connected to you as a mentor have the ability to see that. So for those who are burgeoning aerospace engineers, we can send direct information to those students about upcoming opportunities in aerospace engineering. But again, we need more people. We don't have enough people to be able to fill it. Even though we're making marks, we need you. So again, I don't know where that business card thing went. It's somewhere. Oh, there it is. There's a basket right there and there, and it's near the wine, folks. Please consider being a mentor. We are not just looking for career coaches also. If you're interested in reaching out and being a friend to a student, to be able to be offering a helping hand, to be a volunteer within our system in any of the programs that we offer, sign up for your Coeur d'Alene Connects account. Super easy. You just visit cdaconnects.org, or again, by placing your business card in the basket, we'll be able to sign you up for an account, send you username, password information, and then get you started to be able to making a difference with our students. We'll turn it back over for any questions that might have come in.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson. We did have a question that came in. How many students district-wide are using CdA Connects right now?
Right now, we have 6,000 students who are enrolled in career cruising. Of that, we have 196 companies, roughly. So I'm saying we're probably hitting about maybe a fourth of those students who really are out there. So if I break that down, I'm going to say about 1,500 students can access a profile along the way. But again, it's not just those students who are in those niche programs that we saw up there. We have everything from waitress to wedding planner to all of those things. We have lots of students with unique needs. We'd love to make as many connections as we can.
One question we got was, does CDA Connects require Facebook or any social media use? Do you have to know how to do that?
Not at all. So what ends up happening is you will receive a username and a password. It is not connected to any social media accounts that you have. And ultimately, whenever there is communication from a student, you'll receive an email. That email notification will say, hey, log on to the account. You'll be able to see what the student has written. You again will not see any personal information about that student. When you respond, that stays in the queue. So if you are responding as an anesthesiologist, anyone in the future who is interested in being an anesthesiologist will see your response. You do not need to have any experience with any social media to be able to sign up for an account or maintain your profile or information.
Thank you again, Dr. Nelson. And again, Jamie, one of our CEP board members, is walking through with a basket, and please feel free to put your business card in there if you're motivated and inspired to become a mentor for our Coeur d'Alene High School students. Last but certainly not least, we're thrilled to present our High School Speak Award. Mr. Casey, would you please?
Getting tired. Okay, we have the last one. This is the hardest one because you can go all over with a student in high school, 9th grade to 12th grade. There's lots of options, lots of choices. And this one is still a little different as well. So this student happens to be a student from Coeur d'Alene High School, nominated by their principal, Brett Heller, and the staff. And this is unique. Logan Babbitt. Could you come up here, please? Logan Babbitt. Hi, girl. Very nice to meet you. Are you nervous? You will be the time I'm done. Okay. Now this is unique. Why do I say that? Well, first of all, they don't tell us on this what grade level you are. You're a junior. Okay, before I read this, where'd you come from? Colorado. Do you know a guy named John Denver? Okay, good. He was my age. Okay, Lauren, she is from Colorado. It's important that we know this. I'll just read what Principal Heller had to say. Logan is new to Coeur d'Alene High School this year. She brought with her the experience of running a program called Wish Week, in which the school adopts a student in the community that is living with a serious childhood illness. The program is part of the Make a Wish organization. Logan felt that this program would be a worthy endeavor for CHS, would not only benefit a child, but also benefit the culture at Coeur d'Alene High School. She took the brave step of suggesting the idea to me, and then met with our student council to prompt them to consider taking this on. Though through her actions and her heart for helping others, CHS is holding their first week this week, February 11th through 15th. How'd that go?
Extended it into this week, so it hasn't.
Can you explain some of the things you're doing?
Sure. So we work with Make-A-Wish Foundation, and they give us a kid in the community that has a life-threatening illness, and we've spent last week and this week selling T-shirts that are like designed to his wish and his likes, and we spend the whole week raising money to grant him his wish to go to Hawaii.
That's great. Good for you. Good for you. Okay, what's your senior project? Are you going to do that next year? You want to be involved in the Wishing Star Foundation or something like that? You know what I really think you have to do? Take some education classes, because you could be the principal at Coeur d'Alene High School. I mean, you just think about that. Do you know one kid that ever wants to be a principal of a high school? No, I don't either. Thank you very much, Logan. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank all of you for coming tonight. We got a gift for you.
Before we conclude this evening, we will draw a winner for this wonderful Northwest Specialty Hospital basket. Tracy, would you do the honors?
Stephanie Guyton.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. And thank you, everyone, for contributing your business cards and your willingness to be an online mentor for our students in the school district. This concludes this evening's program, and thank you again, administrators, for your leadership. Thank you for the staff and brave students for your presentations about these incredible programs, and thank you, Dr. Nelson, for providing insight into Coeur d'Alene Connects. We'd also like to thank all of you for coming out tonight on this snowy evening. And one last reminder, please take a moment to complete the form on the back of the program on ways to get involved with CEP. And we invite you to enjoy some refreshments and visit with district representatives. And thank you and have a good evening.